Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Working with Buyers for Success. We're excited to get going with this new series. And for you guys that are, already starting to work with buyers, which is exactly what where we are, which is great. Let's talk about this and let's get you going. So just give me a moment here. I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint on the screen for everybody. All right, here it is, working with buyers. So some basics when we talk about working with buyers. First of all, working with buyers should be incidental. I've met so many realtors through the years that thought that getting into real estate meant dropping the kids off at school, driving by their favorite coffee shop and picking up a cup of coffee, coming into their office, sitting there for a half hour, maybe just playing around with some emails, and then riding around in the car all day showing houses. And let's face it, if you're outside this industry, that's what you think real estate is. It's a part of what it is, but what's the real part of this job? The real part of this job is you being on the phone or face-to-face, getting new clients to sell, not necessarily to buy. Buyers are a byproduct of trying to find sellers. Buyers are easy to find and buyers are going to fall in your lap. So just remember that working with buyers should be incidental. Does that mean incidental as in once in a while? No, incidental in that you don't necessarily go out to try to find buyers. Now, there are times, hey, let's do a first-time home buyer. Let's do, yeah, it makes sense. In a market right now that we're in where there tends to be we're a little bit more, there's better inventory in our market than there was. Yeah, maybe trying to find a buyer is easier than having a listing you can't sell. So there's times around this, but in general, working with buyers should be, you should have a mentality of this is when I'm taking a break. And understand though that the taking a break mentality is hard to get out of. One of the toughest things for everybody to do, and the best realtors do it every day, is to make those phone calls that we talked about in prospecting for success. Make your 5 contacts, your 10 contacts, your 8 contacts, 4 contacts, whatever that number is, 5 days a week, day in, day out, day in, day out. And when you say, you know what, I've been doing this for a month, I've got 4 listings, which is awesome. I'm going to take a week off and just ride around with some buyers and whatever. It's good to do to get your brain fresh, but guess what happens that next Monday? Oh, back to those calls. And you got to start over again, getting in that mentality. So just remember that the taking a break mentality can be hard to get out of. I'm not telling you not to ever take a break because you need to, or you're going to burn out making calls like that. I know people that have made calls like that for years on end without ever taking a break other than a vacation. Not everybody's personality is that way, but just remember this easy thing that I always say. We work with sellers, we play with buyers. Your income in real estate, if you focus that paying your bills happens from listings, and that when you sell a house to a buyer, that's kind of your investment money, your play money, your vacation money, whatever money. If you get into that mentality and work that way, you're going to do better in this business because you're going to understand that by having that consistent inventory all the time, I'm going to have consistent business coming in. I'm going to get buyers from that. And then my friend's going to call me, or somebody I send a newsletter to is going to want to buy. But that buyer money should never be counted on, because what happens with buyers, as we talked about in that very first training that we did with your business planning, spikes and valleys, spikes and valleys. Remember that agents that work with buyers and work more primarily with buyers get paid accordingly. The top 10% of realtors spend 70% of their time and 70 to 75% of their income come from listings. That's what you want to be working on. 3 out of 4 of your deals basically should be listings. Buyers, we need to categorize them. What does that mean? Every buyer that you work with, you need to have a conversation with and size up and know which type of buyer they are, A, B, or C. I'm going to tell you right from the beginning that C buyers, do not work with them. Even if they're your best friend, refer them out and let somebody else deal with them. So there are 3 categories of buyers. An A buyer, I love telling this story. It's a fun one. An A buyer is somebody that has to buy. Who is this person? Their house just sold and they've got to be out in 30 days. Their lease is expiring. Now they could lease again, whatever, but they got a lease coming up in 2 months. My favorite story. Guy just moved here from Oklahoma. He's living in 2 dogs and a parrot. Guess what he needs? A house immediately. That is an A buyer. They've got urgency to buy now. With these A buyers, you can break the rules I'm going to teach you in the next couple of weeks a little bit, because you want to show them as many houses as you can until they buy, because they have to buy. They have to buy now. My house is sold. Closing date is in 60 days. They have to buy now. B is someone that wants to buy. What is that person? That's somebody that they're pretty committed, but they need some things to go their way. They might hem and haw. There's not a real sense of complete urgency. I don't like working with B buyers. I've done it because, if they're friends or whatever, but I tell agents from a strict rule standpoint, refer them out. Okay. I do it in an individual case by case situation. Don't get in the situation where you're showing them 10, 15, 20 houses. After 5, if they don't see what they like, and I'm going to teach you this in a little bit, you're going to tell them, I've showed you the best 5 houses that are out there, what we call our shiny pennies. I'm jumping ahead, but that's okay. Until another shiny penny comes on the market, why would you like a house that's inferior to the top 5 in your price range in the market you want to buy in? So again, we'll talk about B's a little more, but that's who a B is. The C, the moon and the stars have to collide. You sell my house for $15,000 more than it's worth. Find me a house that's at a bargain. You take them out to see it, and they say, "Yeah, I like this, but you know what? I really don't like the paint color," because they're not committed. They have nothing. Yeah, a $20 gallon of paint, right? They're not committed. They're not ready yet. So again, if this person wants to go see houses and waste your entire day, and you're on Saturday and your Tuesday and run your gas tank from full to empty, refer them to somebody. Take a 25 or 35% referral on how well you know them and how much you've talked to them, and let them go crazy while you could be doing your real job, which is what? Looking for listings on the phone, looking for listings.
So exactly. Would you say somebody who gets pre-qualified, would that be A, B, or C?
They all have to be pre-qualified before you take them out.
Pre-approved, rather.
If they've gone to get pre-approved, where they've gone through that, they're probably at least a B, but you're not going to know until you have a conversation with them. That's why it goes back to what I tell you every training and every time I see you guys, finding out what they're committed to. I want to be moved before Memorial Day, Labor Day. What am I? Committed. I got to move fast, right? I got to move real fast at this point. Yeah, I really, don't have to move until first of the next year. Or even better, I really just want to have a move done. I want to have a property bought by the end of the year for tax purposes. What am I? I'm not ready now. I might be, but that's a B. That's a B. C is, yeah, if you can find me my dream home, they're pie in the sky. They're just not committed now. Can a C become a B? Can a B become an A? Absolutely. Can an A become a B or a C? Less likely, but yes, because all of a sudden something in their urgency might change. Oh, sorry. The best homes Find the best homes in the best price range. I just alluded to this in the last one, and this is so important for you to understand this. I wrote this in 2014, so that word file is a little outdated. You should know in every price range the top 5 homes. So if somebody comes to you and says, I would like a $550,000 to $600,000 home, okay, in Lutz, you should know the top 5 listings there. This is what we call a shiny penny. The shiny penny are the best 5 houses in a price range in a market. It may mean that you show somebody a house that they didn't ask for. I have to have 2 stories, and you show them a 1 story. But the reason is, and you tell them ahead of time, I just want you to check this house out. I'm putting it on our list of 5 because it's such a value for the money. And when they show up at this house, even though they had to have the 2-story or whatever else, and they perceive in their mind, wow, this house is worth way more than the others, they'll end up buying it. It's amazing.
Can you
But-
do that just by looking over the MLS?
You can. As you get in this more, you're going to know the market. You're going to know the inventory. We haven't had that. Now we have that now again. We didn't have that for quite some time because houses were going in the first 8 hours they were on the market. Well, now so you didn't know what was the inventory. They came up and whatever. They were all gold. They were all shiny pennies because it was the one in the price range. That was the shiny penny.
Yeah.
Now that houses are sitting, we're starting to learn again in different ones. The key is where's the market that you're most connected to? Start there and work your way around. Because Tampa Bay is a huge place. Can I know every house?
Yeah.
Can I know the top 5 and 400,000 to 450 in Plant City and Ruskin and Apollo Beach and wherever else? Right. But so yes, you would use the MLS as best you could, maybe make a phone call or 2. The other key with this, and we'll talk about this, is we want to stop the tail from wagging the dog. What's the tail from wagging the dog? This is how showings happen now. You're sitting wherever, working, making your calls, and somebody picks up the phone and they call you. Hi, Angela. My name's Bill. I saw this listing in Tarpon Springs, and I give you the MLS number, the address, or whatever. Can I see it today? I get off work at 3:30. Can I meet you there at 4 and see that house? And what do? I got a showing, and you're all excited. Who's in control? I am. So now I show up at that house, okay? You make me sign a buyer agreement right in the front yard before we walk in. I do it quickly, scribble my name. I don't care what I'm signing. I walk in the house. Go in and say, oh, it's not what I wanted. Hey, Angela, thanks so much for letting me in here. I'll keep looking, and when I find another one, and I leave, and what do you have? Probably from caller ID, you have my phone number. You don't have my email. You don't have, am I just looking in Tarpon? Am I looking in wherever else? You don't have any information on me. And that's the tail wagging the dog. Me, as a client, bringing you the house is also the tail wagging the dog. Us having a conversation, a buyer's conversation, and explaining that nobody knows the market like I do because I do this for a full-time job all day, every day. I know the best 5 houses. Yes, I understand that you want to see this particular house, and we can still go see it. But actually, that's not one of the top 5 in Tarpon Springs. It's it's a nice house, but I have 5 that I think you're going to like even more. What did I just do? I shifted. It shifted from me just dictating and you being a valet that opens the door for me, or a key boy or whatever you want to call it, to I have valuable knowledge and I know more about real estate and I know more about what's going on in the market than you are. And again, educate and advise, just like we talked about in the listing conversation. It's the same thing here. Show your value. Okay? If they don't buy a top 5 house, they're not an A, by the way. They're probably not ready to buy. And explain to them, I showed you the top 5 houses in your price range in this market. I understand they're not anything you like, and that's fine. If we go look at number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, they're all inferior to what we saw today. Are you going to like them? How about this? I look at the market every day. I'm going to keep sending you houses, but I look at the houses as well, and I go preview them, et cetera, et cetera. When another house that's at least the quality of the 5 that we saw today comes up, I'm going to be immediately in touch with you and we're going to go see it because I wanted you to get the best house going. I don't want to waste your time by having you parade around and lose half of a Saturday looking at houses that are not even as good as the top 5 here that I showed you that you didn't like. By educating them ahead of time of doing this, when you sit down with them to sign that buyer's broker agreement, by educating them ahead of time that this is your process, and I call it a 6-step buying process, and we'll talk about that in this later in this series. It's going to put you in control, and it's going to save you from Tuesday night, Thursday morning, Saturday half the day, looking at a bunch of houses that these people aren't going to like. And again, my final bullet here, there it is. It's keeping you free from your real job, which is what? Getting listings. Yes. Generating buyers appointments. More listings equals more buyers. How am I going to get buyer appointments? Don't worry, they're going to fall in your lap. Second, you tell people you're in real estate, somebody you know is going to say, oh, I'm buying, or I have a friend that's buying, or whatever else, and that's fine. When you're established, focus on listings and A buyers only. Refer B and C buyers to other agents in the office. Again, B, use your best judgment. We don't have floor time anymore. Nobody comes in an office anymore. So, and of course we have property management, so they usually run our front. We don't even have a front desk person here because we don't need them anymore. But time that you have in the office, and I shouldn't say it, this office actually, because of the listings on the windows and everything, we do get people to walk in here from time to time. But anyway, use your time to prospect for listings. Set time aside wherever it is, whether it's here, whether it's home, whether it's Panera Bread, wherever it is. This is my hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever time you need to reach your number every day.
That's my spot. Panera Bread.
Panera Bread, there you go. Yard signs. Yard signs are going to get you buyers, guys. They're going to get you buyers. I like creating my own yard signs. I only pay like 20, 22 bucks for them. I get them on Vistaprint. I have a template that I use. It's got my picture. It's got my dog standing there next to me. It's got all my information. It's got a QR code that takes them right to the page on my website with all my listings. So it says for more information on this property, gets them on my website. My website has a capture. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but I've got, and you will have, advertising called retargeting. You guys anybody know what retargeting advertising is? Okay. So I go on the internet, right? I go on Google and I search for golf clubs. You don't know, I love to golf, right? I'm looking for a new driver. I'm looking for whatever. Hour later, I go on a news network or I go on Facebook. What are all the ads on my feed? Golf clubs. How do they know that? Series listing. No, there's cookies. Yeah. These cookies are in your websites just like they are in Callaway's for me, right? The cookies let you know that the person was there, and then you can retarget them in advertising. You're going to grab them as clients. So that's why we do what we do with yard signs. And we can talk more about yard signs on a Tuesday or a Thursday, one of those classes where I can actually work with you and do them.
Okay. But you would want to wait until you have listings to put that out?
Well, yard signs are for sale sign. Yeah. You could have other things. The other place I have them on my truck. I have an old truck that I bought. I call it my Home Depot truck. I don't use it for anything except to go pick up. I also love gardening. Yeah. So to pick up plants and whatever else, or woodworking or whatever. So that's why I have it, because my other car is this little convertible that I can hardly even get anything into. Anyway, if you guys want to see a funny picture, I built a little tiki bar in my backyard. Mm-hmm. And the picture is of my BMW convertible with the 2x4s hanging out with the roof down. Anyway, I digress. You can do signs like that, signs on your business cards. That's why I like to help you guys do your business cards, because same thing, you can put QR codes on your business cards. Now I've been told that our new template has that on it. We'll and that's fine too. But you want to get people on your website. So that's why yard signs will bring you buyers. Listing advertisements. Guess what? When you have listings, guess where you're all over? Oh, that's right. Everywhere online. You're on Zillow. right? Who's the listing agent? It's right there. Homes.com, listing agent, right there. Your website, Google searches, your website, you're all over the place. Buyers are going to call. About 8%, I just had this conversation with one of you guys, about 8%, might have been Rosemary, of buyers buy through the listing agent. So, right? So,
I mean, I think I told Rosemary that.
yeah, it's 8%. Mhm.
Yeah.
Networking. You're going to go out to networking groups, and there's always somebody, there's always a buyer. Or I got a friend that's looking to buy, I'll give it, and they get you in touch. Once in a while, I've gotten listings that way, but most of the time, I've gotten buyers. Remember, if they're not A buyers, don't waste your time with them, refer them out. Okay, so I refer 2 of them out. One of the 2 of them ends up closing. You get 25%, you didn't do anything. You do enough of that, power of numbers, it's going to work out for you. I have some scripts for you that I will print for anyone that's watching us live on YouTube or in the recording of this. Just get in touch with me, and I would be happy to share those with you. The buyer script kind of goes through. We're going to teach more of it next week because, like I say, I'm going to teach you a process for sitting down with a client in a quick meeting where you have now the beauty of the buyer's broker agreement is people used to be like, yeah, Bill, that's a great training. And you know what? It's the theory of the old professor. You have a professor that sits in his whole, spends 30 years teaching with all these theories. And the guy that comes in that's been doing this stuff for 30 years says, yeah, they're interesting theories, but come try it in real life. Getting people to come to a buyer's meeting before the buyer's broker agreement was a requirement. I used to do it. I had good agents that did it. Could any of us ever do it all the time? And I had a lot of them that just would fail at it and they wouldn't be able to ever have this conversation. Now that we have to have this document signed, it gives us the excuse to have that meeting. And you don't have to bring them into the office. You don't have to have any whatever. I always tell you, meet them 5 minutes around the corner at a Dunkin' Donuts, at your Panera Bread, or just a place like that.
Yeah.
And just say to them, I want to sit with you for 15, 20 minutes because I want to know I'm going to explain what I do and what value I'm going to bring to you and help you to find the perfect house in the shortest amount of time and get you the best deal on it. And I want to hear what it is you're looking for. Now, because of the buyer broker agreement, I haven't had anybody not be able to do what I'm going to teach you guys in the next few weeks, which again is going through and teaching them and showing them a bunch of things, including one of the things is I'm going to teach you guys how to teach the law of scarcity, even in a market with a lot of listings. Final words. Wait a second. What does that have to do with buyers? Oh, absolutely nothing. It's a reminder. Get the listing. Forget about the buyers. You're gonna do great with buyers. I'm gonna teach you how to do this, but your number one focus is on getting listings. Also, I tell every one of you guys every time you do an open house, and I'm sorry if I repeat myself if you do multiples, but it's so important. Most people work an open house, so they just have a sign-in sheet there, and they sit there, they're reading their book, they're playing on their phone, they're doing whatever else. What's the most important question to ask somebody at an open house? Do they have an agent? That's important, but it's not the most important. Most important question when somebody comes in.
When you're looking to buy?
What's your timeline?
All good questions, not the most important one. 2 of you, I know I've said it to you before you went to the open houses for me. So
Be on time.
I'm putting the heat on you. I'm putting the heat on you. Most important question. Where are you living now? Why is that the most important question?
Get a listing.
I come to your open house. Okay, I want to buy the house. Okay, great, let's go. And you call somebody else to list the house because they don't think.
True, you're right.
They don't think.
To buy, to really
Where are you living now?
sell yours.
Now, there's 2 questions. There's 2 answers you can really. There's 3 answers, but there's 2 major answers you're going to get when you answer that question. Oh, I have a house. And then, of course, the question is, oh, have you listed it yet? It's either yes or no. If they've already listed it with another agent, you got to be asking yourself, why aren't you with that agent to buy? But don't, again, same thing. Don't, whatever, get under a buyer's agreement and you're good. Second thing is we're renting. So what do you say to a renter? I have the best mortgage person that can help you get a first-time home buyer mortgage. We can get you some cuts, hopefully get you some cuts on, some down payment assistance and go through the whole spiel. Cheryl will give you the spiel for that. Notice I don't have that off the top of my head, but I should, but I don't. There is a third answer. We're living with relatives or whatever else. But that gives you this, that would also give you the timeline. With leasing, I get a great whatever. When is your lease up? Now I know. Oh, my lease is up in 2 months. Guess what? That's an A buyer. Our lease is up in 5 months or 6 months. That's maybe a B buyer. Oh, our lease, we got like a year left. That's a C buyer. And now you can put them
And
on
you
there.
still can make an appointment to speak with them, because you know the time.
You can, unless they want to start going to see houses now, which would be a waste of your time. But you're right. You can keep in touch with them and get them working with Cheryl to get their credit going and build a relationship. It's
Especially
an
for that,
absolute must.
Especially for that 2 months.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So discuss with every buyer whether they have a property to sell. Oh, I even gave you the cheat sheet up there. You guys looked up.
Are we getting-
And get the listing. Get the listing. All right, guys. Questions from today?
Nah, as of right now.
Let me get